The fluorescent lights hummed softly in the pediatric wing of St. Mary's Medical Center as 34-year-old Marcus Thompson pushed his cleaning cart down the familiar hallway. His gray t-shirt and work jeans marked him as part of the janitorial staff, but his gentle demeanor and warm smile had made him a beloved figure among the children who spent long days in the hospital's therapy and treatment areas. Marcus had been working the evening shift at St. Mary's for 3 years, finding deep satisfaction in maintaining a clean, safe environment for the young patients and their families. He took special pride in the pediatric wing, understanding that small details like spotless floors and cheerful surroundings could make a significant difference in the healing process for children facing medical challenges. What set Marcus apart from other members of the maintenance staff was his natural gift with children. During his rounds, he would often pause to play simple games with young patients, make silly faces to coax smiles from worried little ones, or engage in gentle conversations that seemed to lift spirits throughout the ward. On this particular evening, Marcus noticed something that had been troubling him for several weeks. In the speech therapy waiting area, a little girl who appeared to be about 4 years old sat quietly beside her mother, never speaking, never making a sound, despite the obvious efforts of the speech therapists who worked with her 3 times a week. The child was beautiful, with curly blonde hair and expressive blue eyes that seemed to take in everything around her. She wore a pretty white dress with pink details, and she clutched a small stuffed animal that appeared to be her constant companion. But what struck Marcus most was the profound sadness that seemed to surround both the little girl and her mother. The mother was an elegant woman in her early 30s, always impeccably dressed in professional attire that suggested she came directly from a demanding job. Marcus had observed her over the weeks, noting the exhaustion in her posture and the worried lines around her eyes that spoke of sleepless nights and endless concern for her daughter's well-being. Marcus had learned from overhearing conversations between therapists that the little girl had stopped speaking entirely 6 months earlier, following some kind of traumatic event that no one discussed in detail. The medical staff referred to her condition as selective mutism, and despite the best efforts of trained professionals, no one had been able to encourage her to speak again. Tonight, as Marcus cleaned the therapy area, he noticed that the little girl had dropped her stuffed animal and was looking around for it with obvious distress. Without the usual sounds of crying or calling for help that other children might make, she simply sat with tears beginning to form in her eyes. Marcus approached, slowly, not wanting to startle her, and gently picked up the small bear from where it had fallen behind her chair. "I think this little fellow was trying to explore the hospital," Marcus said softly, holding up the stuffed animal and making it wave at the child. "But I think he missed you and wants to come back home." The little girl looked at Marcus with surprise, not because he had retrieved her toy, but because he had spoken to her as if she might respond, rather than talking over her or around her the way most adults did. Marcus knelt down to her level and continued his gentle conversation with the stuffed bear. "You know, Mr. Bear, this little girl takes very good care of you. I can tell because you are clean and soft, and you look very well loved. She must be a wonderful friend." The child reached for her bear, and as Marcus handed it to her, he noticed the faintest hint of a smile at the corners of her mouth. "Would you like to help me finish cleaning this room?" Marcus asked, his voice carrying the same respectful tone he would use with any adult. "I could use an assistant, and Mr. Bear could be our supervisor." The little girl nodded almost imperceptibly, and Marcus felt his heart lift at this small sign of engagement. Over the following weeks, Marcus made it a point to include the child in small, simple tasks during his cleaning routine. He would ask her to hold his dustpan, help him organize magazines, or count items as he put them away. Always he spoke to her as if he expected a response, never pressuring her to speak but creating opportunities for communication if she chose to take them. Marcus had no formal training in speech therapy or child psychology, but his instincts told him that this little girl needed someone who would treat her as capable and valuable, rather than as a problem to be solved. One evening, as Marcus was arranging chairs in the waiting area with the child's help, he began humming a gentle tune. The melody was simple and peaceful, something his own grandmother had sung to him when he was young and worried about something he could not control. To his amazement, the little girl began humming along, so softly that at first Marcus thought he might be imagining it. But as he continued the tune, her humming became more audible, creating a sweet harmony that filled the quiet space with unexpected beauty. "That was beautiful," Marcus said when the song ended. "You have a lovely voice." The child looked at him, with wide eyes as if surprised by her own participation in the music. From that evening forward, humming became part of their routine. Marcus would hum while they worked together, and gradually the little girl began to join in more confidently. Her mother, who had been watching these interactions with growing hope, started arriving a few minutes early to observe the remarkable connection that had developed between her daughter and the gentle janitor. The breakthrough came 3 weeks later, on a quiet Thursday evening, when Marcus was teaching the child how to fold paper napkins into simple shapes. As he showed her how to create a paper flower, she suddenly spoke her first word in 6 months. "Pretty," she said clearly, holding up the paper flower they had made together. Marcus felt tears spring to his eyes as he realized what had just happened. "Yes, it is very pretty, and you made it yourself." "I made it," the child repeated, her voice growing stronger with each word. At that moment, her mother came around the corner and heard her daughter speaking. The elegant composure she had maintained for months crumbled as she sank to her knees. Beside her child, tears of joy streaming down her face. "Sophia," her mother whispered, "you are talking. Oh, sweetheart, I have missed your voice so much." "Mama," Sophia said, reaching out to hug her mother while still holding the paper flower. "Marcus helped me make this for you." Marcus stood back, watching the reunion between mother and daughter, feeling deeply honored to have been part of Sophia's healing journey. Later that evening, after Sophia had fallen asleep in the car, her mother approached Marcus with tears still glistening in her eyes. "I am Victoria Hamilton," she said, extending her hand. "I am the CEO of Hamilton Industries, and I owe you more than I can ever express. My daughter has not spoken since we lost her father in an accident 6 months ago. The doctors said she might never speak again." Marcus accepted her handshake with quiet dignity. "Mrs. Hamilton, I did not do anything special. Sophia is a remarkable little girl who just needed someone to believe she had something to say." Victoria looked at this man who had accomplished what teams of specialists had been unable to achieve, not through advanced techniques or expensive treatments, but through simple kindness and genuine respect for her daughter's worth. "Marcus, if you had asked for anything in return for helping Sophia, I would have given you everything I own. How can I thank you for giving me back my daughter's voice?" Marcus smiled gently. "Mrs. Hamilton, seeing Sophia smile and hearing her laugh with you is all the thanks I need. But if you want to do something meaningful, maybe consider supporting programs that help other children who are struggling to find their voices." 6 months later, the Hamilton Foundation established a new initiative providing art and music therapy programs for children dealing with trauma and communication disorders. Marcus was invited to serve as a special consultant, helping train professionals to recognize that sometimes the most effective healing happens through simple human connection and the belief that every child has something valuable to contribute. Sophia thrived in her recovery, becoming a confident, talkative child who often visited Marcus at the hospital to show him her latest school projects and to help him with his very important work of keeping the pediatric wing bright and clean. Victoria learned that the most precious gifts in life cannot be bought or earned through professional success, but are given freely by people who choose to see potential rather